They brought in every expert they had, AI specialists, defense engineers, you name it, and still, the Navy's most advanced warship just sat there, floating like a $4.3 billion paperweight. No movement, no answers. 3 days stranded in the middle of the ocean and nothing but silence from the most sophisticated engine system ever built. And who ended up fixing it? Some retired old mechanic with a notebook, a wrench, and a look in his eye like he'd seen things the rest of us only read about in manuals. Yeah, that happened. I was there. I watched it unfold. Third day of what was supposed to be a standard training run off San Diego, and the Halcyon just shut down full systems lock. The AI didn't respond, backup protocols were useless, and morale was hanging by a thread. You could feel the tension rising with every failed restart. Captain Brannan was pacing like a fuse about to blow. Command didn't want outsiders involved. We were the golden crew on the golden ship. But she knew when to fold pride, and she made the call. We needed someone who could see what we couldn't. That's when Admiral Pike pulled a name out of the past: Curtis Mallory. Retired. No clearance. No algorithm. Just a man who used to fix things by feel. Nobody had seen him in years. Last anyone heard, he was running a garage in Norfolk, fixing outboard motors and ignoring the world. When they flew him in, I swear half the crew thought it was a joke. Guy stepped off the chopper wearing a windbreaker older than most of us, boots stained with salt and grease, and a stethoscope around his neck like he was about to diagnose a dying horse. No laptop, no tools, just that damn notebook and a stare that could peel paint. First thing he said was, "Don't touch anything till I've listened." And I'll be honest, most of us rolled our eyes. But then he knelt down, put the stethoscope to a junction pipe, and stood completely still for almost a minute. Like he was listening to a heartbeat we couldn't hear. When he finally stood up, he looked around and asked, "Who adjusted the heat sinks after the first shutdown?" A young tech raised her hand, said she followed the standard protocol. Mallory just nodded. Yeah, that protocol was written for clean starts, not mid-cycle failures. You're trying to force a scared system to reboot like nothing happened. That was the first moment we realized this guy wasn't crazy. He wasn't even guessing. He knew. He pointed to a capacitor near the cooling relay, said it was the wrong type, not technically wrong, just wrong enough to create a voltage echo the AI didn't understand. Said it had happened before years ago on a test platform that got buried in classified paperwork. We pulled the panel, and sure enough, burn marks. The whole room shifted. Mallory didn't back orders. He just told us what to do like he was guiding a kid through his first bike ride. Pulled a part from an unused comms relay, soldered it in himself. Told us to power up slow, let the ship decide if she wanted to come back. And she did. One green light. Then another. Then they hummed that low, steady vibration every sailor knows in their bones. Halcyon was alive again. Now, you'd think that'd be the end, right? We'd all celebrate, write Mallory into the manual, give him a medal or something. No. Upstairs, the mood turned fast. Command wanted to know how a multi-billion-dollar ship had failed so catastrophically, and worse, how it took a retired nobody to fix it. Captain Brannan got pulled into urgent briefings, questions flying about unauthorized procedures, violations, lack of documentation. And that's when the second twist hit. They weren't interested in the fix. They were interested in blame. In a quiet room of the lower deck, it was just us: Brannan, Mallory, a few of us from the engine team. Darby, the lieutenant, leaned back in his chair and said, "We all need to be aligned before this goes upstairs." Aligned. Like the truth was something we had to rehearse. Mallory just chuckled, didn't even look up. You know what gets people hurt? Worrying more about paperwork than the damn problem. We all knew he was right. Everything he did worked, but technically, none of it should have happened. No contracts, No protocols. Just instinct. But that instinct saved us, and some of us weren't willing to pretend it didn't. As he was about to leave, Mallory gave Brannon an old wrench, said it belonged to his dad. Told her to keep it for the next kid who thinks they're too young to be right and too old to learn. Brannon held it like it meant something, like maybe this whole thing meant something more than just a ship restarting. But here's the thing, not everyone saw it that way. Somewhere in some office, someone's probably rewriting the report, polishing the story into something safe and sterile. But that doesn't change what happened. I watched the machine come back to life because a man listened to it, really listened, not through code or sensors, but through sound and feel and memory. So now I gotta ask, do you think the Navy got lucky, or did it just forget the kind of people it used to rely on? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Should we trust instinct in a world run by AI? Or was this a fluke, a one-time miracle from a relic of the past? Let's talk.